Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Hoodwill. Today I'm gonna be showing y'all how I make my Shoreline Mafia, OGZ, Phoenix Flexin, Tyga, club banger type beats. Now these are kind of like more like trap beats, but they're still kind of have like a little West Coast bounce to them. So let's just get it straight into it. Alright, so I made this beat a while back, and when I was making this beat, I was kind of going for a Huncho Jack, you know, Travis Scott, Quavo, murder beats, Q beats type feel, but then it ended up turning into a West Coast club banger. Like, not too West Coast, it had a little like trap feel to it, you know, something Drake and Rick Ross would hop on. No Drizzy, no Diddy. No, I'm playing. And the loop wasn't good until like I processed it, but I started off with this bell with a simple chord progression. I was just like trying to do some dark stuff, maybe some harmonic stuff in the harmonic minor key, but I don't think I actually use that key by looking at it right now. But it kind of still has a dark feeling. It's like high pitch, and then I brought in this string from Atmosphere. It's more of like an ambience. It's actually a bass preset, but I guess I brought it up, and then I put on this bell arp sound. And then in Contact, I brought up this Middle Eastern instrument, but it just kind of sounds like a guitar. And then after that, I processed all the main melody sounds into channel 5, and then I just added a little bit of vinyl, isotope vinyl, and some RC20. Of course, I did that. Vinyl 1, brought down the noise a little bit. Same with the vinyl. And it sounds a little more put together. I also panned the bell and the guitar, and then the string, I made it more wide, so it's more in the background. And then I added some Valhalla, just default reverb, brought out the lows a little bit. I didn't do too much EQing, actual cutting out frequencies, because I have RC20 already kind of doing that a little bit. I put delay on the bell arp thing, and then I cut out the high and low frequencies, so it sounded like this. And then for the guitar thing, I filtered it out like hella, because I kind of wanted it to have like a synth, kind of like that OGZ song with A Boogie that has like that synth, flute, trumpet, saxophone type thing. And then I added a bunch of reverb, put the decay time lower. You don't want to hear it too washed out. And then I guess I did some more filtering. It basically sounds like this. And then for the string, I just put it at, well, I put it as A sharp, which is like the root note of this chord. And then I just brought it up like really high, because I wanted it to have like an eerie feeling to it. For the bell arp, I could just copy the chords. There wasn't really any methodology behind what chords I was choosing. It was just kind of random. And then I just kind of like did a simple like 3-note melody, 4-note melody for this, just to go along with the chords. And after that, I took the melody and it sounded like this, and then I processed it, and then I reversed it, and then pitched it up 6 cents, so it sounds like this. I filtered it out even more. On the second part of the hook, I added a pitched up version, so it's pitched up an octave, so you just do +12. So it has the regular pitch and then the pitched up too, playing at the same time. And when the verse comes in, it's just pitched down 12 cents, so that's a whole octave. Anyways, before we get to the drums, make sure to like, comment, subscribe if this is helping you with the melodies and you want to see me show you how to make melodies more like this. Also, be sure to check out my Electra banks and my Atmosphere banks, all on hoodwill.com/sound-kits. Check it out right now. And for these types of beats, the drums are pretty simple. The tempo I made this beat in, usually wouldn't do it for West Coast, but for some reason on this beat, I kind of wanted to do it like my old method. So when I started out making beats, I was making more trap beats than like West Coast. So I was making everything like 160, 140, that tempo. So then I was like, oh, why don't I make a beat like how I used to before I knew how to make West Coast beats. So I made it double time, and then so you just do insert 2 steps for the hi-hat. That's basically all I did, is just right click your hi-hat, and then the clap just goes on the 3rd beat right here. And it repeats for 8 bars. Just a simple After that, I added the 808. So the way you put 808s in trap beats is basically you want to choose these beats. So in music, so the way you count with the metronome, it's like this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the and, which these are eighth notes. So and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and these are 16th notes. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a common kick pattern. This is how I suggest to do it. Put the kick on the 1 on the offbeat of the 2. So that's the and of the 2, and the 4 on the second bar, the 2, the and of the 3. Give or take. So then sometimes I like to take them out because it sounds better simple. So you could just be like, or you could do something like this, something like this, or like that. I mean, if you're making West Coast beats, usually make it in halftime. All that means is like you're making a beat at 140. In halftime, it'd be 70. It divides the tempo by 2. So all that's doing is taking these 8 bars and condensing them down to 4. So it'd just be like this if you're making it halftime. And you'll kind of recognize that if you're used to making West Coast beats. It's basically like the same kick pattern you'd probably use. That's just the general way you would put in kicks and 808s. So in the 808s, I just kept it simple and I kept it on the root note. This is a really simple beat if I'm being honest. And I used like a really bassy, like subby 808, so it doesn't have a lot of high end. For these types of beats, I like using either like a subby 808, or if I want something more with more saturation on it, I'll use like the Zay 808. I added some decapitator and R bass. So all that's doing is kind of boosts the low end in like a good way where it sounds like thicker. I don't know how to explain it, but that's how I would explain R bass, and decapitator just distortion. But it's like very, I think the way I have it is very subtle. And the kick pattern is basically just following the 808 pattern. And then I just have this little open hi-hat. I got this clap, and then for like trap beats, not so much West Coast beats, but the way you put in your rim shots, the way you put in the way you're putting your rim shots is like you go like this. It goes on the off beats. Like obviously you wouldn't do it this crazy, but like generally you'd be like that sounds good, you know what I mean? Or like another common one is like on the and of the 4 and then the and of the 1 of the second bar. Be like, and that's basically what I did. I just kind of did what I was feeling, and you can see it here.